Hello, world. I'm Michael Sanders, and this is the Collegian podcast. We're gonna get right into it. Who do we have here today? We have.
Gunnar Young is here.
You sure you're Gunnar Young?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
You forget your last name? This is,
No,
this is Wanibara, by the way.
What's up? It's Chrissia.
No. We
Paloma.
would not do this on show. What's up? This is Chrissy.
What up?
No, this is not Top 10 Radio. This is the Collegian
You
podcast.
guys were so bland. I wanted to just spice it up.
It's a podcast about a college.
What's up, everyone? Wanibara in the house.
Oh, hey, what's going on, world? This is your boy Michael Wayne in the building.
Can I be happy without y'all judging me?
No, this is the total judgment zone. Dang.
And this is Dang. I'll keep it simple like that, so I'm not gonna.
You see how Dane said that he was way more cooler than you?
I said,
This is
what's up?
Dang. Unfortunately, our managing editor, Jill, is not here with us today, so we're just going to move right into the show. Gunnar Young, your story, please, sir.
The event I went to was the Abrazando El Éxito. What? Listen, don't give me crap because I can't. I can actually pronounce it, so I'm the one that has to do your job by introducing the story here. I apologize. You want?
Keep going.
Girl.
Anyway, it was on TR campus. It's a scholarship dinner, and it featured mariachi music and dancing and scholarship awards, and it was a fantastic time. And I was there until like 9 o'clock, and it was scary.
It was scary. How was it scary?
Well, there's a parking garage in the TR, and I didn't want the parking garage monster to come get me, so. So that was the worst part of it. But other than that,
You know what? Cancel Christmas. Next story.
all right.
Health services.
Cancel Christmas.
Cancel Christmas. That means he's not going to make it to Christmas. Next story.
I do want to go back to that story real quick.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Go back.
That event, it was the 10th anniversary they're doing.
Yeah,
it,
so it was
right?
the 10th anniversary, and
Was there anything special at this event?
well, the
like
guy
10th
that was at the
anniversary?
first events was at this one as well, and he was his name was Mateo something, and he was a very crazy individual, and he threw ice cream at people in a good way, not in like a threatening way, and yeah, he was very nice.
Is there context to that? Him throwing ice cream?
He was pumped up. He was trying to get us pumped up, and we were it was late, so we were all just kind of
like in jars or like
and
spoonfuls?
it was like a Thursday afternoon, so no, everybody was just kind of like, but no, they were like a popsicle kind of thing, so like on a stick,
See.
and he was throwing candy at people. It was I got really hyped, and I wasn't even like, I didn't even win anything, so he did a good job.
Actually, I do want to go back to that comment. This is the last comment on this story, but you did win something that night, didn't you?
I actually did win the centerpiece. There was a jar, and I had the Minion sticker on the back of my seat, so I actually did win. That being said, I did not take it home with me.
So you're telling me a white guy goes to a Hispanic event.
Okay,
and wins
first off, this
something.
is an unnecessary comment.
No, and wins something that is so much of.
I was the only one at my table. Nobody else was sitting with me, and it was one per table. So
And you still won out of the whole Hispanic population there.
no, everybody on each table won one. What are you talking about? What are you even talking
This
about?
podcast is off the rails today, man.
Oh, it is.
I appreciate everybody, though. But Gunnar, I appreciate you going and covering a wonderful story. In the print version, I mean, it was well written. I appreciate that, sir.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Health services.
Health services. Now this story was written by Jill, but her and I worked on it more or less together on this stuff. Late last week, we had our production manager go into the nurse's office, right? And she was informed that they could not administer aid to her for like a small thing, like a Band-Aid and stuff like that. And they couldn't help her out by doing a lot of different, like, you know how usually they'll put you in the office, they'll sit you down, they can try to help you out in any way, assess what's wrong. They couldn't do any of that. The most they could do was just sort of give you a Band-Aid, I think, and that was really it. But whenever we heard this, we thought that was weird, and so we ended up calling the health services departments on every campus, and every health services department said that they were not able to administer aid at this time, or and that they were not able to comment on this either. And so that's just weird in general. I mean, why is there no comment for things like what's going on that they can't say anything on this? Also I believe on Thursday, middle of the day Thursday or Wednesday, there's an email sent out to I believe faculty, I think, and in Northeast people or staff, and it does say in the email that there is a reassessment of health services being done, and that if there are any questions to reach out to Mayra Oliveras Urieta. And so we did, and then she referred us to the provost at district, and from there I was referred to Reginald Gates, and from there we haven't heard much back, except for the fact that they are assessing health services needs and what they can and can't do.
So, it has me wondering, if that's the case, and we have a campus like Northwest, no offense, Gunner. I was talking about this yesterday, and just happened one of the bricks fall off and hit a student. Mm-hmm. So the nurses still couldn't render aid?
No, they would have to just call 911 or call someone else. The way it's phrased is that if there is anything that requires anything of administering aid, just to call your local health department, not the health services on campus. They can't do anything right now.
Wow.
And there is no word on when they'll be able to do it again, or how long this will take. There's just literally a big question mark. I don't know why they aren't saying anything about it.
Well, good luck, students.
And just to be clear, there's never been a brick fall on a student at Northwest campus. I don't know why you phrase it like that's happened before.
There was bricks that fell on Northwest
Not
campus.
on a student though.
Not on a student, but they could have.
They could have.
They could have.
But now we've got all kinds of precautions so that's not going to happen. So.
Even then, crazy things have happened.
You're right. But to say it as if it happened is a little unfair to my.
I said
if it happens.
So yeah, bricks been falling on people all the time over at Northwest. What happens then? Like it's just like it's unfair. Unfair way to criticize. I'm just still defending Northwest, and I will until I die.
Hey, you can defend it all you want. If a brick falls on someone's head, then it's on you.
I will take the L if that happens, but it won't happen. So.
Let's hope not.
I read the piece, and it was really interesting because on the website for health services, the first two things that they promised that they would do is that first of all they would treat minor illness and minor treatments, and second is that they would give you over-the-top medication, which they don't do any of those two at all anymore. Since they don't give you minor treatment and illness, they don't give you over-the-top medication, which I could understand why they don't give out over-the-top medication, because there might be some reaction to it. But to this point that they don't even help you ease the pain, like say a bug bite, that's what our production manager got, then you have to wonder, what are they doing there? What are the health services for? Because we are funding into those services, and they're not helping us at all.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been thinking.
That's a great point.
It's crazy. And I mean, in the email that is sent out to all the staff on Northeast, it does say, the staff cannot provide treatment for minor illness or injury, nor can they administer medications of any kind, which is exactly something that those two
those are the top two that they mentioned that they would do on their website.
It is ridiculous if you ask me, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what we're still doing an ongoing story on this, so we'll see what we come up with.
All right. Next story, community forums. This is a story written by our editor-in-chief, Juan, and he goes to these, every other week?
Now, you see, this is different.
Oh, it is? Okay.
That is the governance meeting, which I also went to, and that was fun. But it was the community forums are different. Community forums have been, they are these open spaces where students and faculty and community members are invited to come speak about the most recent bond proposition that is going to be tearing down buildings and doing a bunch of different changes to all campuses across the district. Now, we were able to go to 3 of them. I went to 1, Gunnar went to 2 of them, and all of them were canceled because no one showed up. And so it just shows that there's a lack of anyone even, I mean, we assume it's a lack of care, but whenever speaking to the chancellor and speaking to Reginald Gates, which is the vice chancellor of, essentially he's like I don't know actually. Now you say that.
The public relations manager.
He's like public relations manager essentially for them. But they were all talking to us and saying that it more so shows that there is a lack of fear in the plan. People are trusting TCC. If they were to show up at these forums, then they would be more adamant about, like, if they hate the plan, they would show up, but they don't. People like it. There's a 0 tax rate increase on the bond proposition, and it doesn't affect anyone except for in improving the school. So I think overall people don't mind, and this is just proof of that. And essentially that's what the statements from district people are saying as well.
Now, I don't want to go out on a limb and say I don't think a lot of students actually even know about these events to even show up.
Yeah, and I mean it's funny because whenever they first announced the bond proposition plan thing, they announced it on a Friday at 5:30 p.m., which is normally where you throw news that you don't want anyone to see. And so I mean, people have seen it, others haven't. We've been doing an ongoing story on this for the last couple issues, and we asked students about it last week or 2 weeks ago. And Gunnar, you said that people just didn't really care that much. Or the students, I should say. Students were a little indifferent to it.
Well, it's just like it's kind of a long-term thing. Like it's not going to be completely done until they say, like, I think the latest date I heard was like 2027 or something.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly it.
I mean, that's longer than like starting now college students than like 4-year university students typically go to school. So for a community college where people don't really see themselves being here for even like 3 to 4 years, you know, most people don't, but most people see themselves kind of getting in and out in 2 years. That's kind of the objective. There weren't a whole lot of students that like had really strong opinions. Most of them were like, I mean, cool, that's needed, but I'm not going to be here. So, you know, which is a fair thing to say. But, and also the meetings all went the exact same way. They were all just, you walk in and you wait for the event to start and there's a bunch of empty chairs. And then one of the people that are running the event come up to me and say, or you, and say, you know, well, we're not doing it because nobody's here. So what do you want to know? So I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of people that have any strong opinions on it.
Okay.
And Chris wanted me to, he wanted to add it to the story. He wanted to add the election dates. So early voting starts Monday, the 21st of October.
Correct.
And then election day is November 5th.
I do want to add to that the early voting goes from October 21st to November 1st. So there's that, and you can vote on all five physical campuses.
All right. Dan, you have anything you want to add to it?
No.
Make sure you go out and rock the vote. Moving right along. Well, we're going to you right anyway, Dan, because we have the Trump impeachment editorial.
Oh, that's not. Sorry, I forgot to change the title. That's actually the International Students Citizenship. That's my fault.
So you guys really just set me up for failure like that, right?
Yeah, that was my bad. Well, that's what you get. That's what you get earlier for making me introduce my own story rather than doing it yourself. So.
Oh.
It is the. I'll do it for you.
That's okay.
The editorial this week.
I took the Trump impeachment spotlight last week too, so it's okay.
Yeah, you did.
I'm happy to have my name there.
In a good way, not in like a bad way. But the editorial is about citizenship for international students and that they deserve the same treatment as domestic students.
So before this, I want to say thank you to our host first, because he was actually the one who gave me the idea for writing this editorial and running around.
Oh God, that's the most self-serving sound effect I've ever heard in my life.
Continue, sir.
Yay me.
Okay, so in this article, I mainly tackle, because when you read articles about international students and the difficulties that they have to face, you always think about language barriers, cultural differences, and how you deal with money and managing. And I mean, I believe that those are on the surface issues. It's really easy to deal with, and it's not. It doesn't worth making such a fuss about it. But what I do think it's a problem here is how we deal with documentations and how we are being treated when we come to the States, which I think that the students who come here are paying a huge amounts to be treated unequally with other people. Right now, I mean, I just paid my tuition and I paid 915 for one class, which is 5 times the amount of regular domestic students. And according to the Institution of International Education, so in 2017, international students paid $42.4 billion to United States of America. That means that United States of America took $42.4 billion from other countries to fund into them. And you may think that if tax money coming from Americas are that important, $42.4 billion would have helped international students have more voice and have more power to talk, because we're living under the same policy. But for some reason, some people have the right to change it and some people don't, despite being here legally. Like I personally believe that if I have papers, I have proofs that I live in America legally, that they have already accepted me to come here, I should have a voice when I feel like something is being against me. It's almost like saying, oh, here, come to the country of freedom. But sorry, you have a different color of your passport cover and you have a different country in your nationality. So sad, you're not allowed to vote. It's almost like that's how I feel when I come here.
No, that's fair. I think last week, whenever you explained this to us, all of us were in agreement that this is just extremely unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just ridiculous that that much money is being put into this. And at the end of the day, you guys are given, I mean, because you yourself are an international student, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so through your experiences, we have learned through this, and it's just ridiculous that there is such a lack of respect from the country that is being given to international students for stuff like this.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, the stigma, you see, a lot of students are in STEM majors now. It's not because that they are super good at it. It's because they are almost forced to participate in STEM majors just to stay here. Because it's either that or you get married to an American so you can get a legal nationality. Because I talked to Chris Whitley, which is our advisor, last when we were doing this, and he were asking, if you want to vote, why don't you just be a U.S. citizen? You know, like, why don't you just study, and why don't you just get a job and be a U.S. citizen? Which I answered him that by the time that you studied, you graduate, you got a job, you spend 3 years getting a green card, maybe 10 years to get a green card, you're not a student anymore. And it's probably going to be 8 years. It's probably going to be like one more president there who is already destroying your papers. And it's funny. I'm not going to discredit any party, any political party. But we're hearing immigrations, and we're hearing talks about rights, talk about equality every day. Well, Donald Trump is a white man. The top 3 candidates from the Democratic parties are white. Why should they know anything about immigration, and why do they know anything about the difficulty that immigrations are dealing with? You know, like, it's, to me right now, it's just all talks, and it's gonna take a long while for changes, for positive changes to happen if we keep the country going in this way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's extremely fair to say. I think it's definitely not a quick change. It'll require probably years and years and years and years,
probably decades.
Yeah, of work to get it to be to the point where it's even remotely, even in a fraction fair, and that's just sad to see, sad to hear.
And also, you mentioned like the top 3 candidates are white. Well, not only that, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think to run for president, you have to be born in America. So
Yeah.
there's not ever going to be a presidential candidate that like fully grasps like that concept. So it's just going to be one of those things that even if we don't want it to be, it's kind of going to be on the the back burner, so to speak, just because it's not on anybody. It's not forward on anybody's minds because nobody has firsthand experience with that.
It took us 44 tries to have the first African American president.
Yeah.
44 tries.
And even then, like, his citizenship was questioned.
Yeah,
all
and
the
the
time.
first thing people start thinking is not his policy. It's because he has a different skin color.
He must not be from here.
He must
Yeah.
not be from America.
Yeah.
And people want to talk about equality and all that. And I just think that it's all talk and it's very hypocritical.
It's ridiculous.
I just love what Danny speaks. But moving right along, and this is to close the show out. We're going to talk about El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
Yes, and actually I chose this one I chose this out of the 2 reviews we had because I think there are several of us here that have seen it, so I was hoping we could all talk about it a little bit. But going into this film, I saw Breaking Bad when it came out, and I watched it again at some point between then and now, and I was really interested to see how the movie would kind of hold on its own. That was my main point of, like, I feel like that would be what made it a good movie, is if you could watch it and not have seen Breaking Bad before, and if it still was a really good movie. And that was what I focused on the entire film when I went and saw it when it came out. And I think it did a great job of that. I think it explains everything that is like the show kind of explains already. I think it explains it in the film enough to where you can kind of get it if you haven't seen it. And I give it 5 stars because I thought it was really, really good. And I very rarely watch a movie and then want to watch it again soon after. And it's on Netflix, by the way. It was a Netflix release. But I actually wanted to, like, watch it again, which is pretty rare again because I'm not a huge like movie person. I just don't have the patience to sit for 2 hours. But I actually kind of was like wanting to watch it again. So
I also get that. I'm the same way. I don't like watching things for 2 hours. I'd rather watch 5 episodes of things that are 20 minutes long than watch one thing that's an hour long.
And there's certain exceptions to that, and I don't know if it's like impatience because I can see that and read a book for a while. I think movies just are kind of low on the.
No, I also hate books too. So
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. It's not. I don't know. I said it's because I'm impatient. I think it's maybe because the movie format. I'm just like, it's not for me. But that being said, there's very few times when I watch a movie and I'm like, I want to watch it again. And this was one of those times.
But for this, you were into that.
Yeah, I was like, want to go home and watch it again like that night, and it was like midnight when we got out of that. So.
Now, I've seen the movie. Dang, Chrissy, have you guys seen Breaking Bad or the movie?
Yes,
No.
so I have a chance to see it yesterday. And
The show, did you watch the show also?
I did not watch the show
Well, that's great.
because I mean I
Okay,
read
perfect.
the reviews and it's almost like you said that if you don't watch the series, the movie could work well for you. I don't know. I mean I watched 2 movies last night, so probably El Camino was the second one. So I was a bit confused, but the way it was edited, it gave me a feeling of more of a long series finale. Like
It's kinda- yeah.
the way it was edited, it was not like a traditional movie. It was more of like an explanation of what happened. I mean I haven't, like I said, I haven't watched the series, so I don't know if it really happens like that in a movie, but it almost felt like I'm watching a really long 2-hour series finale to explain situations.
It's interesting because, sorry to interrupt, but I was trying to find somebody in between the time that I watched it and reviewed it that had the same experience you had where they hadn't seen the show. But everybody that I talked to had seen it. Sarada, you, and everybody
Mike?
else. Yeah, everybody had seen the show, exactly. So I didn't really get that. And also I'm a fan of the show, so maybe there's a little bit of that coming in. But but I also have a weird taste in movies where I like not knowing what's going on. If it's like entertaining and you finish the film and you're like, what did I just watch? Sometimes I kind of like that. So I think my personal kind of biases are coming into play with my review, but it's very interesting to hear that you.
I think it's more of like a nostalgic
Yeah.
feeling that it's
Fan
been,
service,
Yeah,
that's what
it's, I
Mike
think
called
it's
it.
6 years, right? It's been 6 years since
Yeah.
Breaking
Yeah.
Bad. So it's almost like when you see these characters and you see the way it was filmed, you see the way it was directed, it almost like a sense of joy to see that, oh, these are the things that I've been missing. And I
think that's fair.
I mean, personally, it's just because that I feel like I'm more critical of movie, and I think I only have one movie that I personally thought it was 5 out of 5. So to see a 5 out of 5 movie,
I'm with you,
it's
actually.
rare.
Hold on, I know this is for El Camino, but I'm curious. What is your 5 out of 5 movie?
My only 5 out of 5 movie, it was Hidden Figures. To me, there was nothing that I would change about that. I mean, technically, it was not historically correct. It was not historically correct. I will say that. I don't look at it as a documentary now. I do believe that if the movie is underrated, I like it more than I should. That and Can You Ever Forgive Me? This early year was my 2 favorite movies that I've watched ever, which was pretty weird to people. But I do believe that their acting is severely underrated. I mean, Hidden Figure was overshadowed by La La Land, and I despised La La Land so much. So
Now, my thing with Hidden Figures,
uh-huh.
Before we jump back into El Camino, now the soundtrack, 5 stars all the way. And
Yes.
I think that's why you love the movie, because Pharrell Williams' superb soundtrack is scored throughout the whole.
That was his last good project. May I ask? May I add into it? Whatever he produced on Justin Timberlake's album was a mess.
All right, we're getting away from it. We're getting away from it.
We're gonna say that for the office.
Let's go back
We
to
gonna say
El Camino.
Now the thing with El Camino and me, it felt like a extended Breaking Bad episode, which it was kind of supposed to do. But I realized why Breaking Bad worked in an episodic thing, because I got kind of bored in a way. To me, Breaking Bad doesn't work in a movie format. That's just me. It felt like one of those TV movies from back in the day that they do like the special or whatever, and it just felt tacked on to me. I could live with the way Breaking Bad ended and not, care about El Camino at all. I mean, it's nice fan service for the true fans. I just felt that it was a little bit too late to the party. I mean, it's just me, but I understand why people rave and love the movie though. So yeah, it's just me.
It's funny you say that, because I very, very often get bored during movies. Even if I enjoy the movie, there's times when I'm just like, when is this over? And I'm the same kind of person. Like, for example, for my It review, I was like, the one thing that kept me back from that was like the long runtime. I'm like, when is this going to be over? I don't want to go. It keeps me back from watching classic movies that are really long, because I'm just like, I'm going to get bored of it and I'm not going to enjoy it the way I should. But I actually didn't get bored about this at all, or during this movie. What?
Nothing.
Okay.
I think that the movie itself, because I watched it also, and I liked it as a movie. I think the cinematography and direction of Breaking Bad flowed really well into this film, in that it is more of the same, more of what you like. It's just in a different type of format, and that's good. And I can see why you'd think it's a series finale thing, and that is mostly because it flows like that. It essentially kind of is, but the TV show itself followed a different character. And so it's kind of like it's like I think for someone who's watched this TV show, who watches the movie, it's like watching a side character have their own movie. Whereas for you, it's like you're watching this guy's your main character, because you don't have any knowledge previously of the main character of the other show. And so I think that's probably why it seems that way. And that's 100% fair. I get that for 100%.
Word.
Yes.
Now, we come to the conclusion of this podcast, and now we're about to get into Chrissia's top 10 countdown. You got anything you want to say, Chrissia?
For what? No, nothing.
Good.
Okay. Nothing. I know y'all missed me talking on the podcast.
No, not really.
Okay.
We are really mean. Not we are. Mike is really mean to Chrissia for no reason at all.
Look, I told Chrissia the reason I'm so hard on her is to get her ready for when she go out there in the politic world, it's gonna be people harder than me. And I want her to have that strength to give everybody.
That's a really good
I
excuse,
play
actually.
Overwatch.
Huh?
I play Overwatch. The E-boys are so toxic.
Toxic.
The
Toxic.
E-boys are so toxic. I love that quote.
Oh.
Wow.
It's like Mike's an E-boy.
I'm building up enough character as it is.
E-boy. Is this his new
E-boy.
slang?
Yeah,
E-boy?
you wouldn't get it. You're a boomer.
You know what? I would be a boomer because I still Atari 2600 because you PlayStation 4s, y'all are extra. I'm good. Just give me the one button in the joystick.
This has been the Collegian Roundtable.
No. We're not in it right now. I'm gonna go on my old man rant about.
I have a question. Would you rather be a boomer or a millennial? Would you rather be?
I'd rather be a boomer.
That's hard. That's rough.
Ew.
Yeah.
Well, you're not. You're totally a millennial.
You're a
so.
millennial, Mike.
You're a millennial
You're
for
still in the
sure.
window.
No, it's a zennial. We talked.
You
about
cannot.
that.
No.
You're making things
You
up.
No,
just
I'm
you went
not
to the
making
6th page of Google and
No,
found
no,
that,
no,
and
no.
you're like, this is.
Look up zennial. Me and Jill looked it up the other day.
You're just trying to escape your
It's
millennialism.
millennial.
No.
It's millennial.
You could hide from it forever, but you are.
I mean, at least you're not Gen Z.
No.
Like, I'm Gen Z.
I'd rather be
it's
Gen Z. We
embarrassing.
still have a chance.
It's embarrassing. We're the TikTok generation and all that.
Oh, come on. We have a chance to
All
actually do
right,
something.
I'm not part of that generation.
Yes, you are. Come on. What are you gonna, does anybody actually want to be a part of the generation that they're a part of?
I mean, I like being millennial.
Are you millennial?
Are
I don't
you?
think you are.
No,
You're
you're
not.
not.
It's 94. No, it's not.
Millennial goes to 2000, doesn't it?
94. It's 94.
All right, then I guess I'm whatever you guys are too.
Gen Z.
Yeah,
But it's
y'all-
too late. It's too late
yeah,
for
y'all
boomers.
super sus.
Hashtag
Yeah.
TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
Let's make a Collegian TikTok.
That's a
I-
terrible
let's do
idea.
it.
You know what? I almost
do
said
it.
something on air I couldn't say, but we getting ready to end this Editors Roundtable
We've
podcast.
gone on too long.
So
Yes.
That's a great idea.
I am Michael Sanders.
Do the floss.
Oh God. Introduce yourself. Outro. Do the introduction, man.
My name is Gunnar Young.
My name is Wani Barra.
My name is Chrissia Palomo.
And my name is Dang.
Why are you the only person who gave your last name?
No, he said
I said Gunnar Young.
You said Gunnar
Juan
Young.
Barra.
Yeah,
I'm the
I
only
think
person who
everybody
doesn't
But I'm
except
say
the
for-
it.
only one you like to call out because you have a problem with me. And we're going to talk
Yes.
about that right now, so
Let's
goodbye.
Let's go.
Thank you for
Beto
listening to the
girl.
podcast. We are, listen to us next week. We will be different next week because next week we don't have paper.
We don't have a paper, and we can get right into the drama that is the Collegian newspaper.
Thank you, everyone, and we will talk to you next week.
Later.